What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Tuesday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt. And I should say thank you for watching this because, boy, do I need to do something different. All right, so I'm wearing no sleeves. I'm doing something, I don't know, I got to do something different because this is not fun. I'm 1 for my last 9. Back-to-back 0-3s. Look, I hate betting baseball. This has been the worst season, and I've had some bad ones. I don't like betting baseball, but I just hate the sport to bet on. I love watching the sport. I hate betting on the sport. I would rather lose every bet I make in college football for the entire season than bet on baseball. I hate it, but it's my job, so I have to do it. I try to find all sorts of alternative things, but nights like last night, there's literally nothing else. Like, there's nothing else. Tonight, there's literally nothing else, but I haven't done NFL futures yet, so I can do NFL futures. So I'll give you my first 2 NFL futures. I gave you 4 college bets. I'm going to give you 2 NFL futures here today. I have 1 2-leg money line parlay because why the hell not? Can't get any worse. So I can only go 0-1. If I get one of the bets wrong, I go 0-1. Fine. If I get them both right, I go 1-0. I'll win a unit back. Yay. Not going to make a dent in the insane hole. I entered the month of July up, I think I was up 15 units, 12 units, something like that. We entered the month of July doing really well when I could bet on other things. NBA basketball, NHL hockey, things like that. Baseball comes around and I have literally buried myself and destroyed my bankroll. Hopefully you guys have been fading my bets. And I don't get angry when that happens because I don't know. I in terms of baseball handicapping, I might be one of the worst on the entire internet. And I wouldn't be sad if someone said, you're the worst baseball handicapper ever. Maybe. I don't know. This podcast is whatever I want to bet on, but I'm paid to bet every day. We have a lot of fun in college football. We have a lot of fun in the NFL. We have a lot of fun in the NBA. We have a lot of fun in the NHL. I have a lot of fun in combat sports, in boxing. But, the summer sucks. Sorry, kids. It just does. It's just horrible. So, just a long way of saying yikes, just absolute yikes for where I am today and what's going on. So, 0-3. We lost last week because of the 0-3 on Sunday. We open up on Monday 0-3. So I'll see if I can climb out of this. We got time and we got football coming up here. So let's see how we go. I'm pretty much flat on preseason football, but we started all hot. We won our first, 3 bets in preseason, and then we kind of cooled off a little bit. But we got those games coming up here on Thursday and on Friday and on Saturday and on Sunday. We're back to week 2 of the NFL preseason, so we can get into that. And then we have college football starting next week. So we are almost through this nuclear summer of baseball betting because, my gosh, the Diamondbacks win. They don't cover the run line. You see the steam on that game, by the way? I got minus 102 last night. It closed at 150. Everybody was on that bet. I can't stand that. When everyone's on the same bet, no bueno. No good. No good. That lost. I don't know what the heck was going on with the Dodger game, but they won 5-2. We bet over 8. Brewers couldn't score. And then we had the Padres over 4.5 runs team total. They scored 2. They won, but they scored 2. Just how it's going right now, It's been a bad summer. That only can mean one thing, a good fall. So, and by the way, quickly on the team totals that we have for the win totals in baseball, we have over 77.5 wins for the Red Sox. They've got 62. That's pretty good here. We've got a whole month and a half left of baseball for the Red Sox just to win, 16 more baseball games, and we get the Red Sox over correct. We've got a pretty good pace going here on, the Cubs are dead. That bet's dead. They have 59. The Cubs bet's, but the Diamondbacks now have 67 wins. So that's looking really good. The Marlins, we have under 77.5 wins for the Marlins. That's great. They've got 44. So that's, trending really well in the right direction for us on that. And then with under on the Marlins, under on the Rockies. They have 44 wins. Rockies, that's going to be somewhat close. We played under 60.5 wins for the Rockies. So, same like with the Red Sox, they have to win 16 more games. The Rockies could only win 16 more games, so that could be a little tough here. They could win 61, 62 wins potentially, but they've only won 4 of their last 10. They have a negative 189 run differential, which is incredible, which is by far the worst in Major League Baseball. Second closest is the Marlins with 161. So if those trends continue, if the Rockies are 17-44 on the road, they absolutely stink on the road. So if that continues, we'll probably come in on the Rockies as well, getting them under their win. So Marlins under, Rockies under, Red Sox over, Diamondbacks over. There's one more that I'm forgetting that we bet as well for a team total perspective. That's going to be like right on the number, but we're doing well. So that baseball might end with a decent 3 or 4 units being up to kind of make a dent, but it won't make up for how many. I mean, I haven't even looked in a while. I don't even want to know how many units I'm down in baseball. It's got to be 20. It's got to be 20. It's been that bad of a season. So let's talk NFL futures win totals for the NFL. 2 teams to tell you about, 1 over, 1 under, and I do have 1 baseball parlay that I'll give you guys. But let's start with the Miami Dolphins. 9.5 win total. Some books are at 10. Most are at 9.5. DraftKings and FanDuel have a pretty big discrepancy in price. Minus 122 or minus 135 to the over, 9.5 wins for the Miami Dolphins. I think the Dolphins can win the AFC East. Let's look at their schedule. And all of this is contingent upon Tua staying healthy. I get all of that. Mike White's the backup. Okay, so that's not good. But they have 5 games before their bye week. And their bye week is early, which is not great. But their 5 games before their bye, home for Jacksonville, home for Buffalo. Thursday night at home against Buffalo. The Miami Dolphins have an unbelievable record. Now, it's a night game against Buffalo, which stinks because that normally what they do is they stick the visiting team on the sun side of that stadium and they bake. That's why Jacksonville is used to it, but not Miami Heat, but they're used to the heat, so they shouldn't have that big of a problem. I think Miami's just better than Jacksonville. Buffalo will play in the heat, but Buffalo will play at night, so they get a gigantic break with that. But Seattle on the road, tough game on the road, cross country, but I think they can win it. They can beat Tennessee at home. They should beat Tennessee at home. That's a Monday night game. Again, kind of a bummer because of the heat, right? But still warm, still not cool. Titans are in Tennessee, so they shouldn't be too bad, but it is Miami with the humidity and whatnot. And more on the Titans here in a second. I'm not big on the Titans. And then they're on the road at New England in October, and that should be a game that they win. I mean, it is realistic they could open up 4-1. Okay, maybe even 5-0, but 4-1 is very possible for the Miami Dolphins at their bye week. They come out and they go on the road at Indy. Tough game, okay? Tough game, but a winnable football game. Let's just say they win that game off the bye, right? 5-1 out of the bye. They have a home game against Arizona. They should win that game. Now they're 6-1. At Buffalo is a loss. At the Rams is a loss, but they come home for the Raiders and the Patriots. They win both those games. They're at 8 wins. They're 8-3. At Green Bay on Thursday, tough game. Thanksgiving, tough game, loss. Home for the Jets. They win that game. They beat the Jets. There's 9. Houston on the road is a loss. They'll have 3 games left here, okay, where they could win. They have San Fran at home, at Cleveland, and at New York. I think they win 10 games. I think to go down the stretch, San Francisco going to Miami across the country, tough game, tough situation. They can win at Houston. They can beat the Texans on the road. They could beat the Jets twice. Jets at home and Jets on the road. I get it. It's New York in January. I understand that tough place to play, but who's to say they're playing for anything? The Jets might be out of it, or the Jets may have clinched a playoff spot and they don't care. Could come down to that game, but I think the ceiling for the Miami Dolphins is 12 wins. Like, you start looking at the home games, and okay, how many of the home games are they going to win? Jacksonville, Buffalo, Tennessee, Arizona, the Raiders, the Patriots, the Jets, the 49ers. Like, there's only like one sure thing loss there. And that's if if San Fran is San Fran, right? So, and that game is in December. So, I mean, it shouldn't be too hot down there, but we'll see what happens with that game in December. So if Tua stays healthy, they can win 12 games. The road games aren't easy, but they should win. They should win at Seattle. They should win at at New England. They could win at Indianapolis. They'll lose to Buffalo. They'll lose to the Rams on the road. They'll lose to Green Bay. They'll probably lose to Houston, but then Cleveland and New York, they can win those games. What's Cleveland going to be this year? I mean, there's a big question mark about Cleveland, about what they're going to look like offensively. What does Deshaun Watson look like? What is the defense? Do they continue to play as well as they've played? But it is Cleveland in December, and it's Miami outside. Not great, but they've won cold weather games before. Tua's not good winning cold weather. His record's pathetic on that. But, you look at, they've got 2 road games into cold weather, but Green Bay in November, is it going to be cold? Maybe. But if they take care of their home games and they win the early season road games, look, the back end of the schedule is not easy, but they could wind up with 9 wins by the time they get to mid-November. So when they get to Thanksgiving, they may have 9 wins, and all we need is one more win for them between Green Bay, New York twice, Houston, San Fran, and Cleveland. It is a bottom-heavy, heavily weighted to the end of the schedule, but the top end of that schedule with the bye week in week 6, I like the Miami Dolphins over 9.5 wins at -122. DraftKings has a much higher price than this. FanDuel's got the better price, -122, over 9.5 wins for the Miami Dolphins here this season. Tua staying healthy. Need Tua to stay healthy, but I think the defense will be better, and the offense is going to be highly explosive, and they are absolutely in contention to winning the AFC East. I'm not very high on Buffalo, but I haven't been high on Josh Allen his whole career, so I'm much higher on the Miami Dolphins to win the AFC East this season and have a pretty good run in the playoffs. I mean, I think 12-5 is not a crazy record for the Miami Dolphins. Book thinks 9.5. I think it's going over for the Miami Dolphins. 1.128 units down. Dolphins. I always bet more on futures, but officially we do 1 unit to win a unit. Officially, Miami Dolphins over 9.5 wins. Second bet in the NFL. Why is everyone high on the Titans? Like, what am I missing on the Titans here that everyone is like, yup, this team's going to be good? I've seen 9-8. I've seen 10-7. This is still the Callahan crew, right? See, maybe I'm biased, but I covered Nebraska when Bill Callahan showed up with a quarterback named Zach Taylor, JUCO transfer, and decided to take one of the most all-time, most prolific run-heavy offenses in the history of college football and made them a passing offense. I remember I was there when Bill Callahan came in, when Steve Peterson did what Steve Peterson did. His son's doing the same thing. We're taking a Derrick Henry, heavy run first, play defense, smash mouth team, and making them into a pass-first, pass-happy offense. It's going to take a minute in my mind for Brian Callahan to get this thing right. It's another kid coach in the NFL. I haven't been big on the kid coaches in the NFL. Not very high on Zach Taylor. Sure, he went to a Super Bowl. Still not high on Zach Taylor. He's been proving me wrong, but I'm still not very high on the guy. I'm not a fan of all the disciples of Sean McVay. This is not a Sean McVay disciple, so to speak. This is a Zach Taylor disciple, which is even crazier. Hired his dad to run the offensive line. Excuse me. I get it. Bring Bill in, let Bill. He's a good offensive line coach. I get all that. But we already have an injury to DeAndre Hopkins that's going to maybe keep him out the first couple of weeks of the season. Will Levis is the starter. Are we in love with Will Levis? Didn't they draft Malik Willis thinking that guy was going to be something? They signed Mason Rudolph, right? Got him out of the Steelers. They picked him up, traded, whatever, however they got Mason Rudolph. That's your quarterback room? And we're going, yay? Yes, this is a good thing? Okay. They signed Tony Pollard, who I liked a lot with the with the Cowboys, rather, but okay. Calvin Ridley signed this big offseason deal. I don't know really why, but he wanted to go play in Tennessee. Okay. I like the room. I don't like the quarterback. I like the room. I don't like the coach. The defense, is the defense going to be good? I don't know. 6.5 is the win total. Let's do the schedule for the Titans. At Chicago, I think they lose that game. Opener, loss. Home for the New York Jets, loss. Home for Green Bay, loss. At Miami, loss. I have the Titans opening up 0-4, and their bye week is in week 5. Not good for a team I don't like to have to go through a bunch of weeks, 12 straight weeks with wins. They have Indy at home. Let's give it to them. They win that game. Buffalo on the road, Detroit on the road. Loss, loss. Patriots at home. Give them that win. Now they have 2. At Los Angeles, loss. Home for the Vikings, loss. At Houston, at Washington. Let's say they split. Jacksonville at home. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Cincy at home, loss. At Indy, loss. Jacksonville, road, loss. Houston at home in week 18. If the Texans need it, loss. I don't know. I think this is a 4-win football team. I don't see many wins on this schedule for the Tennessee Titans. Look, you could say first ever start. Did you watch Caleb Williams play? Have you seen Will Levis? Which looks more comfortable to you? Which quarterback do you want to back? Now, it's one game. I get it. But I like what Chicago's doing a lot. And at home for the Bears, with all that excitement, I know it's early. I know it's September. It's not December. But I don't know. I think the Bears win that game. And then the Jets at home, come on. Green Bay at home, come on. You're dealing with 2 great quarterbacks coming in. Miami on the road it's on Monday night, prime time. No good. Then the bye. Your road games are Chicago, Miami, Buffalo, Detroit, the Chargers, the Texans, the Commanders, the Colts, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have three separate trips of back-to-back road games in the NFL. That second game's always death. That's one of the old adages. Second road game in a row for an NFL team, bet against them. So that would be Detroit's a loss, Commanders are a loss, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are a loss. But the games before are Buffalo, Houston, and Indianapolis. All 3 games. They could go 0-6 in that run. Again, FanDuel's got a better number than DraftKings does. Minus 128 on this. I'm going under 6.5 wins on the Titans. I'm not high on the Titans at all. I think we're going under 6.5 wins on the Tennessee Titans. Minus 128 on that. FanDuel's got both these bets. Over 9.5 wins for the Miami Dolphins at minus 122. And under 6.5 wins, minus 128. Bet those both officially to win 1 unit. But I tend to go a little bit differently on that only because, well, for me, I look to bet more than just 1 unit on futures. So what do you guys want for today? All right, I'm just going to go with a really basic, boring moneyline parlay of the Diamondbacks and the Yankees. The Yankees lost 11-2 to the White Sox yesterday. If they lose back-to-back games to the White Sox, I know Nestor Cortez has not been good on the road. I understand that, but Jonathan Cannon going for the White Sox, Yankees can't lose 2 games in a row to the White Sox. No. And then the Diamondbacks are just red hot. I mean, and the Rockies are the worst team. Austin Goldmer is going to the mound. He's horrible. Erod going for the Diamondbacks. He's not great, but to minus 119 parlay, I'm going to bet 1.19 units down. Diamondbacks money line, Yankees money line. 2 baseball games you guys can watch if you want to have 1 bet on it, because I'm not interested in going and throwing much more money out the window when it comes to betting on baseball. Just my thing. Sort of one of those white flag days where, like, okay, let's get to Thursday. Let's figure out a time to get ourselves to watching week 2 of the NFL preseason. And there are some actual decent games coming up for week 2, starting on Thursday for the NFL, which I'm really excited to get into. Philadelphia's at New England on Thursday, standalone game. That'll be fun. And then Saturday, there's a litany of games, 2 games on Sunday. So a bunch of stuff to get into this weekend for NFL preseason football. But for today, 2 future bets. Miami over 9.5, Titans under 6.5, and a money line parlay of Diamondbacks Yankees. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all socials at Sports Talk Matt every single morning. The Daily Juice Podcast being brought to you, as always, by BettingPros.com.